Hello! In the last couple of episodes, we were talking about how to build muscles the most efficient way. But what about if you don't have equipment? Can you still build muscle? That's today's talk. We are going to talk about how to build muscle without any equipment. Now, before we get into the exercises, I want you to understand that training with just your body weight, because that's what we have as a resistance, has its limitations. It has its limitations, especially in the lower body. With the upper body, we can work quite well, we can progress as well, which I will show you. But with the lower body, you can get strong pretty quickly, and then we're missing some extra resistance to make further progress. Nevertheless, you can still make some gains with just your body weight. And this is also a great episode if you are on the road and you don't have any gym or equipment and you still want to squeeze in a workout. Also, this time I'm going to show you exercises that are specifically meaningful for cyclists. All right, let's jump straight in. Okay, the first exercise I'm going to show you is the push-up. The push-up is without a question one of the best exercises you can do as a cyclist, especially for mountain bikers. In mountain biking, you want to have strong shoulders and strong elbows, and that is what the push-up can provide us. Especially when we go downhill, we have to overcome a lot of eccentric forces, so braking forces. If you want to absorb bumps or heavy hits, if you have to brake hard or go really fast in tight corners, these are all positions where you need a strong upper body, and the push-up is great for that. The push-up is also one of those exercises, if you are doing correctly, it involves almost the full body. One of the most important aspects of doing the push-up is the position of the elbows. You don't want to flare out the elbows too much. You want to have actually a 45-degree angle. So this would be 90 degrees, this would be 0 degrees, this would be about 45. It is the same thing that I was talking about in the last episodes when I was talking about the dumbbell bench press and the bench press. It's the same position here in the push-up as well. So you want the elbows 45 degrees, therefore the triceps is involved as well. Or let's say the triceps is involved a little bit more than it would be in a 90-degree position. And especially in biking, we want the triceps working as well. Also, in the 90-degree position, it's very taxing for the shoulder as well. All right, let's look at how we can set up the body properly. So we have the hands a little bit wider than shoulder position, and then we come up in a tabletop position. And here in this position, I really want to make sure that my lower arch or my lower back is not arched too much. So I bring the hip a little bit forward, I squeeze my butt, I actually tighten my abs as well. So I have a flat back. And the first thing, so again, remember elbows 45 degrees. So the first thing that moves to the floor is the chest. That's really important. So don't go down with the hip first. That's what I see often. So down with the hip. You have to go down with the chest first. All the way down, touch the floor, come up again. So to build up muscle properly, we have to do a minimum of 8 reps in the push-ups. What if you can't do 8 reps with the regular push-up, like I showed you? One variation that you have seen maybe is going on the knees, and then also here, bring the hip in, go all the way down, touch the floor and come up. But this version, it's not my preferred one. There is actually a better way to make the push-up easier. To make the push-up easier, we have to just adjust our lever position. So our positioning of the body. So the higher we go, the easier the push-up gets. The lower we go, the harder is the push-up. So I have a box here, and of course you can use a bed or a sofa or chairs, whatever, there is many options. So I'm gonna do the same setup. So a little bit shoulder wide, bring the hips in, tighten the abs, elbows 45 degree. I come all the way down, I touch the box, and then I come up again. If I can do 12, 13, 14, 15 reps like that, and I want to progress the resistance, I just go lower. Okay, so I turn the box, and then it's harder already. I go all the way down, touch the chest, come all the way up. And with this trick, you can adjust the resistance based on your level of fitness. So what about making the push-up harder? Let's say you can rep out 20, 25, 30 reps of the regular push-up and you want to increase the resistance. There is solutions to that as well. One option would be, so imagine these are, for example, books. I don't know if you still read books or it's only digital or podcasts, but when it comes to me, I really like books. It's the same concept of making it easier, but just vice versa. So if you want to make it harder, you're going to increase the height of your feet. Take the books, you go with the feet on the books, and you have now a bigger lever, and you do the same thing. You go all the way down, touch the floor, and come up again. That's also a possibility, but there is some limitations to it. The higher you go, the less you will do for the chest and the triceps, the more it gets to the shoulders. So there is a limit to it, but there is other variations. So you go again, imagine those are the books, and you can increase the range of motion, which is a fantastic thing. And you can increase the range of motion not just in a harder position, also in an easier position on the box. So the concept is we want to go deeper. So for example, here you have again your books, and now set up the same thing, a bit shoulder wide, a little bit wider than shoulder. And then we go all the way down, and then we try to go down even further than our hands and try to touch the floor. So for me, it's about here, and then come up again. And with that, we increase range of motion. We go deeper into a deeper stretch, and therefore create more muscle building, more hypertrophy. So the same thing you can do if you are not able to do push-ups on the floor, you can do it also on the box with increased range of motion. You set up the books like that. You go all the way down, really go deep into the stretch, then come all the way up. And there is one more way to increase resistance, but you need a little bit of equipment. If you have a band, and I would really recommend you buying bands because they're really helpful, especially in bodyweight exercises, to increase resistance. In this case, with the push-up, it's actually a great tool because I'm going to show you how you can use it. So you do a couple of turns, okay? You go around the back and set up the band in the middle of your upper arm. And then I start a push-up again. I go all the way down. I have less resistance, and then come all the way up. The resistance is increased, and that's a good thing. To work with a band like that, it's also called accommodating resistance. What it means is, if you go down, usually, and especially in the lower end range of the joint, you're mostly weaker. And when you're weaker, you want less resistance. And when you come up, you get stronger because the lever of the joint is getting better. It's just physics. But the tension of the band increases. So the strength curve is actually optimized. And this is called accommodating resistance. And it's a great tool to actually improve hypertrophy as well. All right, let's look at some back exercises. So the first one I'm going to show you is called, I call it inverted barbell row. What you can use is a pole, or it works really well if you have a sturdy table, for example. But I'm going to show you the exercise first. Right, so you go underneath the table, or in this case the barbell or the pole, and then let's show it this way. Let's bring the width a little bit wider than shoulder apart. The wider you go, the harder it gets, because the lever is a bit bigger. So basically we set up a little bit wider than shoulder wide. Then we bring the hip up, and from here we go all the way down, even in the shoulders, and then we pull ourselves up, so shoulder blades together, and then we come all the way up until we touch the chest, and then come all the way down again. So all the way up, touch, and come all the way down. So if you want to increase resistance and make it harder, what you can do is raise your feet. So for example, here I put it on a bench or a chair or whatever, bring my hips up, and now I have a bigger lever, then bring up all the way up and all the way down. Okay, this would be one way to make it harder. Now, if you are particularly strong and you've mastered the table row and you increased your feet and you can still do 15 reps easily, there is another way to make it even harder. And this is, so we're gonna go the regular setup with the feet on the ground. We go all the way up, and now from here we switch to one arm and go down with one arm eccentrically. Both arms up, one arm slowly down. Okay, so the other side would look like that. Up, slowly down. Up, slowly down. It's much harder, and we accentuate the eccentric phase, but that's a great thing. We can eccentric overload the muscle and create way more hypertrophy than if you would go down with both arms. But it needs a lot of control. It's pretty hard, so you need to be quite advanced. To make the exercise easier, usually I have to go higher with the bar, but in case you don't have a bar or like different sizes of the pole or different heights of the pole, this is where a band comes in really handy. Because again, with the band, you can decrease resistance. So again, you put it around a couple of times, then put it around the back. You grab the bar or the table, whatever, and then come into this position, and when you're down, you have actually a little bit more support. When you come up, you have a little bit less, which is actually not ideal if you work with the band, because when you come up, you have a bigger lever, it gets harder, and this is where you want to have the most support, not less support. Okay, so let's say you struggle even with the band, there is an alternative way to actually still work the back and the lats, and this will be an eccentric version, so we're eccentric only. So you grab the bar or the table, you actually bring the legs or the feet closer to your body, and then it's much easier to pull yourself up because you can use your legs. So you go here, you touch the bar, and then you go with the legs in front, and then go slowly down, eccentric down, okay? You work here only the eccentrics, but that's not too bad, because in the eccentric portion we can build the most muscle and we can create the most muscle damage and therefore incite hypertrophy. So this will be a great variation as well, especially if you're a beginner. So the pull-up you can do in many situations, because you will always find a pole somewhere or a staircase where you go underneath and you can pull yourself up, or a door frame sometimes. Again, here I prefer the overhand grip because we have the biggest lever in the back. You can also do underhand grip. It's a little bit more biceps involved, but a little less lever for the lats. Let's use overhand in this case. A little bit wider than shoulders apart. And the most important is when you start out, you want to have full extension. So full extension means really let go of the shoulders as well, but still be active. And then from here, we try to pull as high as we can. We try to touch the chest. If you can, that would be ideal, because then we're going to use full range of motion. But in any case, try to go as high as you can every time. And when you do that, it's okay when you extend the thoracic spine, so the chest, to the ceiling. When we do that, we usually use more lats than the biceps, okay? But if you can't do a pull-up like that, you can also work with a band here. Usually you need stronger bands. Well, a stronger band will help you a bit more. You can stand on one band You don't need to use both legs, one is enough. Then you do the same thing, so full stretch in the shoulder, and then we go all the way up, touch the bar, come all the way down. Slowly eccentric, full stretch in the lats. One tip, I said without equipment, but if you have a strap, this would help tremendously with your grip, because usually the grip will fatigue first before the shoulder fatigues, and it's a shame because we want to really work on the back, and straps can help you forget about the grip and just focus purely on the lats. To make it easier, so for example, you can't do a concentric pull-up, there is a way you can do it eccentrically, so you need a little box or a chair, and then you stand up here, try to jump a little and try to catch yourself in this position and go down slowly, okay, into the full stretch. You set up again, jump up, slowly down, all the way down. That is also a great way to increase the resistance and slowly build it up until you can do a full pull-up.